What's up, everybody? This is the PlayStation Lifestyle Underground Podcast. We are an unofficial podcast of PlayStationLifestyle.net. I am Hugo Stiglitz. You can find me on PSN as Hugo Stiglitz _420 and Xbox Live as THNK4URSELF. And doing a three-man show again, like we're supposed
I'm
to.
here this time. I'm here.
Yeah,
Uh,
not
yeah,
two-man like last week.
yeah. My bad. My name is
No worries.
Jordash. You can find me on the internet and forums and on PSN as Jordash7K.
And I am Brian Mashallah. You can find me on the comments and forums as Brian Mashallah arguing with you, and on PlayStation and Nintendo, and I guess other places as Cloud Strive 768.
Sweet. So lately I've pretty much just been playing one thing, which is Gran Turismo Sport, pretty much nonstop. Although I did play a little bit of Evil Within 2 tonight, finally after a week of not touching it, because I've been, well, actually more than a week, shit. But on Vita, what was I playing? I was playing Ratchet and Clank still, which is pretty awesome. Really like it, and it's actually a good port for the Vita, which is a good thing. And oh yeah, I did a little bit of remote play of Wolfenstein: The Old Blood. That's about it for me.
Yeah, Hugo. I didn't play too terribly much this week either. Like if you saw me online on the PSN, it was
Well, I played a
mostly
lot. I just didn't play a
Oh.
bunch of different games. That's all. Like,
Yeah. Well, I didn't play too much. I was like rewatching It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia for most of the week, but I
sweet.
did play a little bit
It's a
of
good
video
show.
games. Actually, over the weekend, I started playing Hearthstone again, which is all right. It was fun because I hadn't played in so many months. It like drops you in at like rank 20 something, which is really really low, and everyone that plays there is usually pretty just terrible. So that was like a good confidence booster to get back in, just like
Huh.
poop stomping people. That was a treat. I did play a little bit of Dragon Age Inquisition over the weekend,
I'm
mostly the
sorry.
multiplayer, which is like it was fine for what I wanted. Like I was about to start playing Neverwinter again, but I said I'll play this game because it's probably similar, and it is a lot similar, but also like slightly worse in every way. Uh, but I was wanted to like play a game that I could like not have to focus on and like also watch a TV show at the same time. So it was really good for that. And I also played a little bit more of a game played through PS Now called it's like Chronicles of Teddy's some. It's a really long game. It's like Chronicles of Teddy's something of Exodus, and it's like a Metroidvania style game, and it is pretty fun. It's like got pixel graphics, and I think it's on like on PS4 like regularly. But it was a good game. If you have PS Now, play it. If it ever goes on sale, I do recommend buying it because it's a good little game. And that's it for me.
With a name like Chronicles of Teddy, it must be.
Yes, you do have. There is a teddy bear that
Hmm.
helps you. He's your buddy.
Fantastic. I have not been playing games with teddy bears, although that does sound fascinating. For me, it's been mostly Final Fantasy 12, some Fire Emblem Warriors on Switch, Stardew Valley on Switch, and some Free Knack 2 on PS4. And that's basically been it.
I'm gonna be getting
Yeah,
some
not
paid
a very
neck too at
exciting
some
week for
point.
any of us.
The non-free kind.
It's fun. I'm really enjoying. I mean, if you like Knack 1, Knack 2 is just as good. If it's a lot better actually. They
Good.
definitely improved a lot of things and made things more interesting. And some annoying things are still there, but for the most part, it's a much better game, and I'm enjoying it. I can't complain that I got it for free, but it's definitely one I would have bought anyways because
Yeah,
I don't understand the hate of the first one.
me neither.
Well, it's fun to hate things as a group on the internet. That's a big deal.
Yeah, I
Clearly.
mean, I think a lot of it came from skeptical PlayStation gamers, and then just a bunch of Xbox turds that just would have hated no matter what it got for review scores. So,
Well, if you liked Xbox, Knack was shit. If you liked PlayStation, Rise was shit, and they're both decent games.
Rise
I
is
think Knack.
great. Maybe not the greatest, but I really enjoyed it. So, yeah, no, I'd say it's similar, although I'd say Rise is better, to be honest. um,
I wouldn't know. I didn't play Rise, but
no,
I've heard from people who played it. They said it's not as bad as people make it out to be. But
definitely not.
when it comes to games on the internet, there really aren't too many actually terrible games. But despite what people say,
Yeah, especially not by
Steve.
Crytek. Crytek, it does. I haven't played a bad game by them. Like maybe some that were not as great as they could have been, but nothing that's actually bad. So, but yeah, no, I really enjoyed the story mode of that. It was fun. The combat was actually surprisingly deep and just enjoyable. So, uh, yeah, as far as I'm concerned, both of the most hated games that the consoles launched were both good games. But I'm sorry, where were we? Like, were you done or
I was indeed done.
sweet? So one of our news stories this week is actually involving NeoGaf, which is a popular gaming forum website type thing,
You
and
mean was a popular gaming forum
was
website type?
strangely
Too soon. Too soon.
still not. But yeah, like a lot of people in the industry would actually go there, and it was like that kind of place. It was a very more like hardcore gaming type um, forum, I'd say. And apparently, the owner of it made like an advance on a coworker that he had been on like a trip with somewhere, and basically she didn't want any and took a lot of offense to it, and just revealed it now after all that. I think that I don't know if she said it specifically, but maybe that fucking Harvey Weinstein shit inspired it or something. Because I heard that there's like a lot of girls that were coming out saying that if they got abused or not because of that, like to try to speak up or something. Um, and so yeah, she mentioned that, and apparently from what you're telling me is that everyone on NeoGaf pretty much just took her word for it and just bolted from the site, and now it's dead.
Um, Not exactly everyone, but a number of users and moderators decided to quit or be banned or resign or leave because, well, I mean, it's the internet, so the most reasonable answer is the one, you know, that's instant, or not reasonable, but the most reasonable action is the instant one, and everything is just a powder keg. So it's just, it was a snowball effect, and it happened quickly, and the dude didn't make a statement right away, so everyone, assumed guilt. I guess I don't really know.
Huh.
I haven't been a NeoGaffer. I'm not one. I've been to it a couple times, but I realize that it's been a pretty important thing in the industry for developers, um, you know, and gamers in general and stuff like that. So, regardless of the circumstances surrounding him and what he did, it seems like the site is just in a bad place right now.
Hmm. Shame. But it is a little surprising because it's a huge website. I'm surprised that he wouldn't just like sell it or something, but it's because the actual people that go there are leaving, which is kind of odd. I wouldn't expect that. Like, you'd think, they're there not for the owner, they're there for each other.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
like, it just seems odd to me. But whatever.
Yeah, that's the big hot button topic right now, so it is.
Yeah, guess so.
So, yeah.
It's it's in everyone's mindset because of Harvey Weinstein, and women are speaking out about it everywhere, and it made sense that it happened in gaming, and I'm sure it's with NeoGaf, it's just kind of the tip of the iceberg. And not too long ago, we had the Nutty Dog
Yep.
artist who spoke up about sexual harassment,
Yeah.
and I assume it's just going to keep coming in the coming weeks and
Yep.
months.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But all right. What was our other news story? I already forgot.
Lego Dimensions dying, I think.
Oh, I thought that was like our topic. So
Yeah.
yeah, Lego Dimensions died. We will discuss more of that later. But our topic.
Well, there was a YouTube thing.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
know.
Oh,
That
yeah,
was
yeah,
it.
that was it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're the one who fucking told me to save it for 10 minutes from now, and you forgot about it already.
Well, that's how much I cared about it.
Awesome.
Fair enough.
So yeah, like apparently there's more gaming-related content being viewed on the internet than HBO and some other network type things on the internet, something like that. Was Netflix included in that?
HBO,
Because I have a hard time
Netflix.
believing it even more if Netflix is included.
HBO, Netflix, ESPN, and Hulu combined.
Yeah, and I cannot imagine that.
I have
Yeah,
a hard time with that.
regular people that aren't super video game people, they're not watching Twitch and they're not watching like Let's Plays on YouTube. They're watching the Netflix and Hulu. No one at work that I work with that like even like the guys will be like, no, I've never watched Twitch.
Yeah.
Like I think I've heard of it. Like I see that thing on my Xbox, but I don't ever click it because I don't care. And like, and I'll watch
Yeah.
Netflix with my wife, and yeah. I think the normal person watches way more than that. I think those numbers, as I
And
stated, were made up.
like I think that video gaming content is way more popular than those people have any idea of, but more popular than Netflix, I don't know about that.
Yeah, I mean, on one hand, the numbers do seem a little skewed towards video game and gaming content because I realize it includes YouTube and Twitch. And part of me thinks that it's credible because on one hand, you have to pay for Netflix and YouTube is free, Twitch is free, and it's been kind of a growing movement of Let's Plays and just watching people play games and watching gaming related content. I do have a couple friends who are pretty, awesome, nerdy, hardcore gamers who don't really watch TV but watch Twitch constantly and watch LOL semifinals for some reason and Hearthstone championships and stuff like that. And
I'll watch Hearthstone sometime, but watching any of those like MOBA games, like those are like the most chaotic, like clusterfuck things ever.
yeah,
They're so terrible to watch. They're terrible.
but I watch, for example, during SGDQ, I watch more of that than I do in like the week preceding and following it of TV or anything like that. So I think it's probably a little skewed, but at the same time is probably a growing number that is closer to reality than we might think. Because cord cutters are real. People are less invested in cable than they used to be 5 years ago, 10 years ago, definitely.
But however, you're
Especially-
saying like, yeah, there's people cutting cable. I don't have regular TV, but I have Netflix and Hulu. Like that's all on the same side of that.
I mean, that's true,
Yeah.
but how many people pay for? I pay for Netflix, and arguably I
Oh.
watch more YouTube than Netflix.
You know,
'Cause
another
it's just
thing
more
is there are a shitload, myself included, of people that are sharing Netflix. You know what I mean? Like my brother,
Yeah.
he has the Netflix account. He gave the sign in to me, my mom, and my mother-in-law also.
Yeah,
So,
Netflix is hosing
not to
themselves
mention
by doing
his
that.
wife and his son-in-law. So there's got to be a lot of that. Because Netflix is cool about that. They don't give a shit.
And yep, I share with my in-laws. So
Me too.
the number of Netflix users may be more
Oh, it is.
incur.
It's at least
A
double.
lot. Well, you mean it's at least half? Because more people are watching, but fewer are paying for it. So the number of that they're probably reporting is based on user accounts and not user usage.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. But either way,
I don't know.
I've seen some other shady like studies on gaming, like the one saying that 50% of gamers are girls, and like, but they're talking about mobile games and stuff. But even then, I still have a hard time believing it. Like,
Okay, I think the question is like, do you hate them? And if they put no, they're like, you're in. Like it's a loaded question. I
yeah,
think.
yeah,
Or
that's
do
true.
you play games, cell phone included? But again, I think the number of like girls who play Xbox that are closer to Xbox as an example are closer to about half than we might think. I mean, we're not all
I would be surprised if it's
nerds
half.
living in basements. That's
There's definitely
the
a
nerds living in
ton.
basements is a stereotype that's incorrect, and that's pretty
There's
well
definitely a
known by
ton
now.
that also don't go on mic and don't have like how a lot of girls have like girl in their gamer tag or something to indicate that they are one. There's a shitload that don't for that specific reason because they don't want to be known as a girl online because that sometimes brings some
Because we're terrible monsters.
shitheads. Yeah, like some especially some like little kids that just see that and they instantly just have to be assholes. But I still would be shocked if it was above like 33% or something like that. Just
Oh, I bet it's closer to like 40-60.
yeah,
I
I
wouldn't be
highly doubt
surprised.
that. Just because I mean, you go
Well,
online and
yeah.
it's almost 99 out of 100 is going to be a guy for the most part. Even if you like are generous in guessing the anonymous ones.
I would be more inclined to agree with Brian on this because I think most of those people just don't play online, so you don't see them online at all because
Hmm.
it's a waste. It's a terrible wasteland out there. But
Xbox
like
should
I play
know though,
games.
because they have
Yeah,
the whole avatar thing, and that you can
mhm.
choose male or female. I remember some social justice warrior whining about the fact that there was only male and female to choose from.
Oh my god.
Um,
Oh my god. Oh this. God
not
damn.
joking, by the way, that's real.
Oh yeah, I was getting to a point, which is unusual. So listen up, because my wife won't ever play a game online, but we'll play games together. And like I
Hmm.
know, like some of the guys at work, like they'll like one of his the guy's wives like really likes playing the Dragon Age games, but she don't play anything online ever. They just want to play a game and be away from all the monsters and creatures out there.
Yeah,
I think
and
I think it's very real. Yeah. Yep.
my wife plays plenty of games too, more so on shitty Mac these days though than normal
Ugh.
consoles, which is unfortunate. But she still plays those games,
Hope you had
and
a prenup.
she doesn't. I don't. She makes all the money anyways. She doesn't announce it. She doesn't say, "Hey, I'm a girl. I'm showing you my tits. Give me free stuff." That just doesn't happen. And I think what you were saying, Hugo, has probably a lot more clout to it than we might think. In that girls don't announce themselves as girls online to just not deal with it. I mean,
Even still, I would be shocked if it was anywhere near 50%. Like, even the ones that don't have their own account, like, because
Man, the
at
patriarchy's
least the
dying, Hugo.
girls
Get over it.
at least the girls I've met in real life, there is very, very few of them that play video games at all.
Well, yeah, when you're going all the clubs and the bars, they're not going to be talking about that, Hugo.
True, but even still, you'd think there'd be more. But even at, like school and stuff, I don't know. It doesn't seem like there's a lot to me. But whatever, who cares? Uh, onto the topic at hand. Um, so our topic this week is inspired by the Lego Dimensions thing, but it is gaming fads that have come and gone and or died out quickly. And the Toys to Life thing is one of them. We also thought of the whole Guitar Hero Rock Band thing, which is more or less dead, although there were games this generation for both of those series. I don't think they were huge. But then oddly, stuff like Just Sing and one of the other ones, the dance one is still going on strong, isn't it? I don't know.
Hmm.
I'm not really an expert in any of these categories, so take it away, Brian.
Okay. I guess it'll be me monologuing for the better part of an hour, anyways. Um, well, yeah, we can start with the Lego Dimensions and Toys to Life thing since that's more recent and the inspiration for this topic. And it was announced earlier this week that Lego Dimensions is not necessarily being canceled, but they're just stop. They're going to stop making new content for it. They had a 3-year plan in place for playsets. Obviously for 3 years after launch, and they made it 2 years. So they're cutting it off about a whole year before it was supposed to be done with. And I mean, it's pretty obvious that there was still a lot of content that they were planning on doing but never got around to, and a lot of, especially figures that they were going to make and never got around to. Like the main villain from Lego Dimensions was obviously going to have a pretty, nice minifigure released for it, and there are a couple characters that I'm shocked never got one, like Sauron from Lord of the Rings. He was part of the game and he never got one. Most of the villains never got one actually, from Lego Dimensions, so that's pretty surprising. And just the fact that Warner Brothers owns so many properties, which is why the game had like Scooby Doo and Harry Potter and all the DC games, or DC properties rather. Um, Random things like Sonic and the Goonies, Powerpuff Girls, Teen Titans, or more recent ones, Beetlejuice. There was, infinite possibilities, but I have to assume that costs just got in the way and oversaturation of the market, we're going to probably say that term quite a bit, is what killed it.
What made Lego Dimensions any different from Disney Infinity or Skylanders?
Well, Skylanders was all original, except for Spyro, which was like the name drop to sell the first set, I believe. And then Crash was like a fun little tie-in. There were a couple of Nintendo ones as little tie-ins for Nintendo exclusive versions of one Skylanders set. I don't remember which. But for the most part, it was all original stories, original characters, original everything. Whereas Disney and Lego obviously used their own properties. Disney having its wealth of Disney, then Marvel, then Star Wars figures and characters that they could use, and Lego Dimensions having their plethora of different properties.
If I was a parent and my kids were barking at me to buy some of these toys for them, which one would be the one I should get for them? Which one was the best?
At this point, whichever is cheapest in the clearance aisle.
Well, pretend it's 2014. Which was the best one?
Well, that depends. Did you want to go with Skylanders because the figures were cute and funny? Did you want your kids to play with Mickey Mouse and Captain America and Han Solo and Luke Skywalker? Then Disney Infinity. If you wanted your kids to play with Batman and Gandalf and Homer Simpson and build actual Legos, then go with Lego Dimensions.
Okay.
I'm
But did
personally,
they all like mostly just kind of like play the same though?
I've never played Skylanders, so I can't tell you that. And I actually own Disney Infinity 3.0. I bought in the clearance aisle not too long ago and a bunch of characters for like $30 or something ridiculously cheap like that. And I only played around a little bit with it, but I mean it's like from what I played, it was mostly messing around in a toy box with some mini games, with some story content with like Star Wars, even though I never got into it at the time. And it's on my to-do list. But with Lego Dimensions, that was the one I played the most and the one I enjoyed the most, and I'm kind of most upset about Lego Dimensions being canceled because it was fun, besides building the Legos and stuff like that, it was a Lego game, just one that you would have the Lego figures with. And so if you ever played a Lego game, you know what Lego Dimensions was like.
Is it like regular Legos? Like the physical Legos?
Well, you do build the physical Legos, yes, and you
Okay.
do
I'll
build
take it.
blocks in the game. I mean, Hugo, you've played some Lego games.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've played The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. And there's
Yep.
lots of stuff to smash. It also follows the movies and uses like the actual dialogue, and just it kind of redoes them in the Lego graphics, and also adds
Yeah.
some humor to it. But like
Yeah.
there'll be like an important piece of dialogue going on, and then in the background there'll be someone like tripping over themselves or doing something stupid, and yeah, it's pretty cool. Although I've never finished any of them. I think the most I've played is like 2 or 3 hours of them, but
Yeah,
they're
that's
cool.
about me too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Lego Dimensions is kind of like that, only instead of sort of following the movies, imagine fighting through Metropolis from DC Comics while Sauron is sending waves of orcs after you.
That's pretty cool.
And in the process of it, you are on your little pad thing. You are playing as, I don't know. It comes with Batman, Gandalf, and Wildstyle from the Lego Movie.
Hmm.
Instead, in case you don't want to play as one of them, you pick it up and put down Superman or Gollum or Homer Simpson or Marty McFly from Back to the Future or the Ghostbusters Peter Venkman. Or if you want, you can have Batman drive the Ecto-1 instead of the Batmobile. Stuff like that. So I was always the biggest fan of Legos because it had the most. It was the most fun to me because of all the different properties it mixed up. Plus, me being my tchotchke lover and liking the figures and building the Legos, I liked owning the Legos. But with Lego Dimensions, that dying out, while not surprising given the climate of the toys and games as they are, doesn't surprise me too much because of, here we go again, the oversaturation of the games. Since
Yeah.
Skylanders came out on a yearly basis and Disney
Plus
Infinity,
Amiibo, that hasn't died yet, right?
we can get back to Amiibo because that's kind of a whole different story. I mean, similar but very different from the others. But
Well, what's the
with
difference?
there is no Amiibo game, but Amiibo work with most games.
Huh.
But they do less.
Sort of. So, as an example, you have I don't Disney Infinity. If you want to play any of the Star Wars stuff, you need Disney Infinity 3.0, not 2.0, not 1.0, you need 3.0. So, if you have any of the older games, you have to use older figures, and you can only use newer figures with newer games. I assume it works the same with Skylanders, and with Lego Dimensions it was different because there was only the one game. So all that worked, but it just worked with the one game. With Amiibo, let's say you
One
have...
game to rule them all. Sorry.
It's fine. Talking about Sauron and Metropolis.
That's what made me think of it.
But say you have the Link Amiibo, the Super Smash Bros. Link Amiibo. It has a purpose in Super Smash Bros. It has a purpose in Hyrule Warriors, both the 3DS and the Wii U version. It has a purpose in Breath of the Wild, again, both the Wii U and the Switch version. And it works in a... It gives you a Link-like costume in Mario Kart, I think. Same with Mario Maker. And it gives you just random items, usually in other games. So
Okay, yeah,
that
that's
one
what I was gonna
amiibo.
ask. Like, what do they give you besides like a little costume or like a coin or something? Because like I
Well,
was watching a Super Mario Odyssey thing earlier today, and a guy used like two amiibos, and like one gave him like 3 coins, and the other one it made him like invincible for 30 seconds.
yeah. So
The
generally,
Goomba, I'd like a brand new Goomba amiibo, just gave him 3 coins in the brand new Mario game, which I thought was kind of silly.
Goombas are
so
awesome.
Goombas are awesome, and I do have a Goomba amiibo.
And by
But
the way, the game didn't even recognize it. He said, "Oh, what a lovely amiibo." Didn't even call it by name.
so
Let down.
the way some of these work is there are certain amiibo that function specifically with certain games. Like I said, the Link one does Link related things in Link related games, or gives you a Link outfit in Skyrim on Switch coming up. But for things that aren't Link related, like Fire Emblem, for example, if I wanted to put an amiibo down for Fire Emblem Warriors, Link would just give me some random shit, probably money. Not a big deal. But if I were to use the Fire Emblem amiibo that came out for the Fire Emblem game, then it would give me something different. It's really fucking convoluted and
Like it
stupid.
sounds like they're like just like $15 DLC packs that do a lot less than a regular DLC pack.
They they are not even that. They can be in some cases and have been in some cases, which was shitty. The first Splatoon, I think, did something similar. But if you want to call it DLC, then it is Oblivion Horse Armor. It is nonsensical and totally pointless most of the time. However, if you want like Epona in Breath of the Wild, then you need Twilight Princess Link amiibo.
Huh.
I like that you made such an old throwback to like an 11-year-old terrible DLC pack.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's still pretty relevant, I think, today. But the reason that amiibo are different is because they are, they work for a number of different games in different ways, and sometimes new games incorporate older amiibo, and sometimes they don't. Usually they don't. But they're
Well,
Nintendo things, so Nintendo things usually sell unless they're Animal Crossing amiibo, and then they'll just sit on shelves.
to a certain extent, though, aren't they kind of like miniature versions of some of the statues that you get with collector's edition uh, packages too?
Yeah, I mean,
Could you compare them to that, or?
I honestly, yeah, I could. The older ones were pretty. I don't want to say bad, but if you look at an old amiibo from like 2000, man, when did they first come out? 14, I think.
Mhm.
Compared to some of the amiibo now, I mean, they're just much more detailed, much better built, much nicer colors, much more varied colors. Just better built. So before they used to be a little more blah, but I would compare them to statues now. And they're pretty, for the most part, pretty well built and pretty decent quality.
Hmm.
And
Nice.
for me, I still suckle at the Nintendo teat quite often. So I buy them because I like them. They look nice. They look nice on my shelf, and I use them in some games.
I
I don't
think
buy all of them.
that
I don't need
could be a reason why they're more successful, maybe. Like, I don't know if the Skylanders or the other ones, those figures were good quality, but to me, the idea of getting like a collector's edition type like little figure, if it's a game I really love, like say if it was a Nathan Drake or another Trico, although I already have one, I might actually buy it. And I'm like really not into that sort of stuff, like action figures and stuff. I have only one, and it's the Trico that I got for the collector's edition of Last Guardian. That's it. But I would probably
Hold on,
buy
I gotta
more
stop you real quick. You don't have
if
like
they
a
were
whole bunch of
15
you don't have a whole
bucks.
bunch of like little cute things on the top of your desk.
No.
No, you okay?
I
Well,
used to
then
have model
you're the
cars.
odd man out in this. Then you're out.
I had model cars and stuff.
Oh,
I mean,
those are things. You don't have
Well, they're
those.
all in boxes now, though.
Yeah. Oh well. Ugh.
See, the thing with Amiibo is they also have such a great history. I mean, it kind of baffles me why Disney Infinity and Lego kind of failed too. I mean, maybe not Lego, but with Disney Infinity, if you love Star Wars, I don't know why more people didn't buy Disney Infinity 3.0 for the Star Wars stuff. Because I bought some of the Star Wars figures and they look pretty decent.
Hmm.
More than decent. They look pretty nice actually. They don't have as much functionality as Amiibo, and they were a little cheaper. Amiibo are surprisingly pretty expensive. So, but Amiibo have that like Nintendo nostalgia associated with them. Me, I've said it before. I love Zelda. It's one of my favorite series. You better believe I'm gonna buy every Zelda Amiibo, and I have all 13 or something of them at this point, and I have the next 4 pre-order already.
Hmm.
I'll
Doom
I'll buy those
is going to
maybe.
switch, so I wonder if they're going to do that little Doom guy that's actually, in the game. The collectibles there, those little Doom guys. I think it would be a
Oh,
no-brainer for
It's
them to make that for their
yeah, yeah.
amiibo, right?
it's always honestly it's always possible. I mean, Smash Brothers had Bayonetta and Ryu, Pac-Man, Cloud Strife. You better believe I bought both Cloud Strife amiibo, each different costume. Um, but Pac-Man, Ryu from Street Fighter, they're third party, and they got amiibo. Um, Shovel Knight has an amiibo. Not only
Huh.
Shovel Knight, but Plague Knight, Spectre Knight, and King Knight also have amiibo coming out. And those are third party, so they're less likely, but always possible. You said you like Goomba. I'm surprised you didn't see a Goomba amiibo and want to buy it immediately. Oh wait, another reason people like amiibo: they sell out instantly. So if you don't get them when you can, they're gone.
Yeah, that's odd.
Unless they're
I
Animal
mean,
Crossing
I'd
amiibo.
consider getting a Doom guy one, or BJ Blazkowicz one, since I canceled my collector's edition from Best Buy because it looked like it was going to arrive late, and there ain't no way I'm waiting to play that game.
I BJ probably not. Doom is a
Possible.
possibility
Okay.
because it already kind of looks like a toy in the Doom game. So
At least, yeah, like the little collectible ones
yeah.
that you
Oh
find.
yeah, you barely ever actually see Doom Guy, the person you
Yeah.
play as. But
Well, except when you walk up to the suit at the beginning and he looks like a badass who'll probably scare little kids, so they might not do that version of Doom Guy. They'll probably do the little figurine ones because, I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer since it is a little figurine in real life, or it will be if it's amiibo. But uh,
yeah,
that'll be interesting.
so that's where Amiibo is still successful. I mean, it has just a million things working in its favor, and it doesn't really have to worry about oversaturation too much because while a million of them come out all the time, usually when they're gone, then they're gone, and it's harder to find them again. So if you haven't been keeping up with them and getting them as they come, there are not many reprints and restocks, and
Huh.
you're forced to deal with the gray market and deal with scalpers versus. I mean, they just made so many Skylanders and Disney Infinity figures, and for a while, yeah, Lego Dimensions figures too, and these things were pretty expensive. With Lego Dimensions, it was I don't even remember when they first came out. It's like $15 for a small Lego figure in a little vehicle.
Well,
And Amiibo can be expensive at 13 to 20. One Amiibo has been $20,
Eh,
but
I guess that's not too bad. Unless, like,
but
you have to get, like, a bunch of them. I don't know.
but normally they're 13
How
bucks.
big are they?
Depends on the Amiibo.
Oh. They're not
I
like a
have
general, like, say, a foot tall or 8 inches tall, something like
oh
that.
no, foot tall is way too big. The Guardian Amiibo from Breath of the Wild is probably the biggest. No, that's a lie. There's a giant yarn Yoshi that's like a foot tall.
Yeah, yeah, I've seen that one.
That
Huh.
is rare, but I mean
Yoshi's
that's
the
rare.
best for Mario Kart.
That was that's a really hard to find one these days, and that was
Hmm.
pretty exclusive. But that was the biggest. There is a Guardian from Breath of the Wild that's 6 to 8 inches tall with like flexible legs to pose differently and stuff like that. That was the one that's $20, and that's bigger. The Goomba amiibo is like the size of a golf ball. The Cloud one is about, I don't know, an inch taller than that, maybe 2 inches taller than that. I'm just looking at the ones I have down here.
Yeah, regular amiibos, they're like 2, 3 inches. They're pretty small.
Uh, Not 2, 3 inches. They're closer to 6 mostly on average, I
Hmm.
think.
Hmm.
Maybe 5. But not too big, not too small. Pretty decent size, I think.
That's what she said.
High quality. That's how you use it in a
Yeah,
multi.
Hugo, there was a lot of jokes to make in that pool when you were talking about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what else about Amiibo? What are we talking about?
We were talking about why all those game toys mostly failed. Well, we hadn't even gotten to that part yet. I think
Oh,
they didn't. I think they didn't work out because parents got tired of buying the.
Hmm.
In their minds, they didn't know what they were. Like, why am I buying the same crap for like 3 years? And they stopped. And
Yeah.
that's what happened.
yep.
And like you said, like them kind of oversaturating the market with multiple different types and that crap.
Oh yeah, that killed it.
Uh,
Killed it.
but also, like, the price of each one, like $15. Like, it used to be parents would just have to, give a kid, like, about that much. Maybe they could get a new game, a used one, or a little more than that, get a new game, and they'd be set for like a couple months. But those Skylanders things, they seem like they would have to be regularly asking for those, right? So that's how it
So,
works.
so
That's the
I'm
scam.
the least familiar with Skylanders, but there was always some like extra thing that you usually had to buy with Skylanders. I mean, you had like the one or two figures that came with each iteration of the game, and the old ones could be used, but they were pointless because the new gimmick were more important. Like, I honestly don't even remember. The, I just don't know Skylanders at all, and I always thought it was the dumbest thing. Uh, but I do remember like weird little extras being required, and like little like plastic crystal things on the toy aisle, along with the Skylanders stuff. And I mean, not only were the games were just expensive because each new iteration came with its new like portal and new figures and the game. So
So, like, if you had the figures from the older game, would they like not work with the newer one?
I think they worked still, but they were
Oh, okay.
pointless whatever because each new game introduced a new gimmick and the old figures didn't have the new gimmick. So
Hmm.
they would work in the game, but they would be pointless or something. Maybe I don't really know. All I know is each new Skylanders cost like $80 to $100
Damn.
because it came with the one or two figures and the new portal and the game.
Hmm.
So each portal didn't work with the previous iteration. I believe it was the same with Disney Infinity. I couldn't honestly tell you if the 1 2.0 versions worked with 3.0 or not. Again, my knowledge basically stops with LEGO Dimensions, and they just had the one portal.
Hmm. Speaking of games that would cost $100 because they came with stuff, what about Guitar Hero?
Well, those games are all kind of failing now too.
Yeah.
Those games failed years ago and tried to
Yeah.
make a comeback.
Anyone have any
It
ideas
was,
why? Because they were wicked popular at one point.
so are
Yeah, they were.
Skylanders.
Well, because you had all the system and all the stuff on PS2, and well, you didn't want to buy it again on PS3. They buy a whole nother system to play basically the same exact game,
Oh,
and then they started coming out with the new games every year.
did you have to buy a
3,
new
4, and
guitar?
2.
Is that what it was?
I don't even remember. You probably did.
So when it came to upgrading from PS2 to PS3, you needed a new guitar because there were no PS2 controller ports anymore.
Oh yeah.
PS3 was wireless, but I believe once you went wireless, they all worked.
So if you were going from like 3 to 4,
Yeah, because
That's
I
odd.
know with Rock Band, I'm pretty sure you could have just bought the game because the instruments worked
Yeah. Hopefully.
throughout. So your Rock Band 1 instruments could work with Rock Band 2 or 3, but not Rock Band Beatles or Metallica or Aerosmith or Green Day or whatever fucking spin-off that they came up with. And while Guitar Hero was doing Guitar Hero 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 9, Band Hero, DJ Hero,
yeah.
and this was
It-
between 2004,
like 6 in 2010. Did it come
2004,
out in
5, and
2004 is when they started?
that was the first Guitar Hero.
Yeah, it was like
Wow.
PS2, so it's pretty
Yep.
Yeah.
old. And I mean, like, PS2 did have USB, so I feel like if they just had used that, they wouldn't have had to switch to, make people buy new guitars on PS3 and PS4.
Well, I didn't really. I assume they didn't understand how big it would be. I mean, Guitar Hero 1 was how many people really thought that a rhythm game where you used a small fake guitar shaped controller as the controller would take off, even if you could play Queen and
I could see
Lynyrd
it
Skynyrd.
because of that, and because it was pretty simple to use, and it was sort of like a guitar. I could see it being pretty successful. Although it's like I still wonder too, because of, to me, input lag kind of always ruins rhythm games for me. Um,
Is there nothing worse than a rhythm game that like doesn't sync up, like say Parappa the Rappa? Christ, that game is terrible as far as actually.
or Rocksmith, which is the one that uses you plug a real guitar in, which is pretty cool. It seems like it's a good learning tool, but it's just like there's noticeable input lag there. And it's the same for everything really, because everything has input lag, whether people notice it or not. We're probably used to it at this point, but when it comes to like playing music, though, that's a different story. Just because like I have been playing guitar and stuff for years, so I'm gonna notice something like that, like instantly.
yeah, and I don't with Guitar Hero it was just so many of them came out and they each had their own guitar and some didn't work and some did, and you had all these little spin-offs like the Band Hero that tried to be more like Rock Band
Yeah,
instead of just guitars like Guitar Hero was, and then even Rock Band, despite it being I think a little better towards the end, like Rock Band 2, I thought was better than Guitar Hero, whatever iteration they were on at the time. Even then they started coming out with like Green Day and Beatles, and the Beatles stuff it didn't work with Rock Band 3 or something like that.
Hmm.
because the Beatles stuff was specifically licensed for that one game and licensing issues, and yeah, it was a neat idea, but it was always going to be a mess. One, from just the dumpster loads of plastic instruments that ended up getting thrown away over the course of that decade, and there's so many of them coming out. I mean, I'll shit on Activision all day and all night, but they're the cause of a lot of these problems with their Guitar Hero coming out every year, or up to two a year, I think, which was just insane. And
That's too much.
all the Skylanders shit, that's Activision, and they ran that series into the ground because every single year was another $100 game with another several $100s worth of figures that you
Yeah,
had to buy
and
for your
that's
kids.
people don't like that in video games. Yeah, people will buy like a DLC pack for a game or a season pass or whatever, but they'll buy it once. They don't want to buy this in their mind. Like these still Skylanders. You're buying the same game and figures over and over. It's too much. It's too much.
And I have to assume it's part of it. Part of it is also the kids growing up.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
With
Like maybe it just wasn't
Skylanders,
popular with kids anymore. I'm not a kid. I don't know.
I'm only a kid at heart, and
Doesn't
I like
count.
Legos. I mostly like the Legos, big Lego Dimensions, because I like the Lego figures, and I liked building the Legos. With Guitar Hero and Rock Band and stuff like that, that was great when I was in college, and I had a bunch of friends to play with while we're drinking. But when I, you know, graduated college and moved out and moved in with my wife, it was fun for a little bit, and then the little guy was born, and no more blasting on drums. But it makes me wonder what the next fad will be, because I feel these were all fads,
Yeah, no, you're right there. There's gonna be something else that picks up just like it.
Hmm.
and it's interesting what that could be. I mean, motion controls were sort of it for a little while before people realized that it was stupid waggling around fucking Wiimotes to play games. Uh,
I don't think VR is a fad. Like I think it's gonna be around for a while. If
Well,
maybe,
I don't think it's even a fad yet.
yeah,
it's,
Yeah, it
it's
hasn't.
definitely still in its infancy.
Yeah,
yeah. I think it'll probably always have a place just because of racing games, though, in my opinion. Just because, to me, if the steering wheel market can succeed for as long as it has, why wouldn't VR as well? Just because it's so tailor made for racing games, pretty much. So, I mean, it's like perfect for it. So, I haven't even done it yet, really. Um, but from what I hear, it's like it's the best way, and it does make sense to me because it's like you're sitting in the car virtually, sitting in your living room. I mean, it seems like it would work perfectly. So like I feel like the VR is going nowhere, even if Sony does get out of the whole VR market. I still think that the PC market will have it going on for ever, pretty much. I mean, or to the foreseeable future.
Well, with the VR, you also have the practical applications of like uh, in-your-face movie experiences and talking with people, in teleconferencing, just there. Virtual tours, I heard, or virtual tourism is something that could be pretty big if you can't afford to go on these expensive trips. Then put on a VR headset and pretend you're in China. But there, aside from that really dumb example, there are more practical applications too. VR, and I don't necessarily know if it's a fad or not, but we'll see. 3D TVs were a fad, very short-lived one.
Yeah. Like, cause it never really became standard. I think that was part of his problem. Also, I don't know, maybe somewhat bad timing and just not a huge amount of support. I don't know. I didn't have a lot of experience with them, but it did seem cool to me. I just regret the fact that I never got to see what Uncharted 3 or Killzone 3 or Resistance 3 were like on a 3D TV, because from what I heard, they were pretty amazing.
Hmm.
There's some like strong supporters of the whole 3D TV thing, and it seems interesting because some of the like just demo type movie stuff that they would show at like Best Buy that I saw, I was very impressed, to say the least. So, like, it seems like the type of thing that I would enjoy at least. Although I can imagine it like hurting your eyes after a while, like I think a lot of people complain about. But VR has pretty much taken that spot. I mean, it's the superior option probably. So
Remember two-screen gaming?
what?
Like you'd be playing a game, and then there'd be some kind of companion app for your game to download onto your smartphone or tablet.
Oh, okay.
Ugh. Didn't like one of the Assassin's Creeds have like a treasure chest opening app thing?
I don't know.
One or two of them had that.
I know the Pip-Boy app that was a thing. Like, so you could put, if you had the actual Pip-Boy from the collector's edition, you could do that. Metal Gear Solid
If
had
you're
the map you could put on.
I think Destiny had an app. I think.
Destiny had the only way to view Destiny 1 lore was in the Destiny app. Yep.
Yeah.
And you could view your character.
What a fail. To me, the coolest companion app was the Gran Turismo track editor. You could literally draw out racetracks and then drive them in GT6. It was pretty fucking sick.
Oh, that's cool.
You could also import
There's-
images of like tracks, like real life ones, and then trace over them. So you could like recreate real life.
That's cool. What is your favorite Gran Turismo over the years?
It'd have to be 6, just because it's just better in every way than the ones before it. But Gran Turismo Sport, if it just gets a little bit more variety in, like, as far as the cars go, maybe some more tracks, easily GT Sport. Just because it's much like GT6 was, better than all the ones before it, and all the ways that count. Even without the single player, like without the whole huge career mode, even without that, like I would still think it's the best one so far.
Like I need that like forced career mode that even's like do this race. It's like you did it. Here's a check mark. Like I need that.
I
In my
mean,
life.
it's there. It's just short, but like I can do without it because like I could even just use like random thing picker on the internet and just to choose track car. There are also people that will like literally write out championships and stuff like that on like forums and stuff, so you can just follow theirs and tally your results. I mean, you love spreadsheets, so there you go.
I do like a good spreadsheet.
But they do plan on actually adding more, they said, because I think they were a little surprised at how pissed off people would be that they shortened the career mode. But yeah, at the moment, like, they do need to expand the types of cars in GT Sports just to make it a more complete racing game that GT6 was. They don't have to have 1200, which is ridiculous.
I was bummed out in the demo because the cars they kept giving me were goddamn rally cars, and I wanted a different kind of car, but I got like just rallies.
I mean,
And that was
the first one I got was a rally car, but after that, I was getting a variety, and then at the end, I got the Tomahawk X, which is this basically theoretical, ridiculous car that...
Yeah. Like the Red Bull and...
Yeah, except in some ways even worse, because it has way more horsepower, And yeah, like if someone drove it in real life, much like the Red Bull, most likely, it would probably kill them. The G-forces would, because
Yeah,
it reaches like
it's too
8
fast.
or 10 Gs in corners, so it's like, yeah. But it is such a cool thing to have, and like, because I
Yeah.
mean, isn't that what video games are all about? Doing shit that you can't necessarily do in real life. So
Yeah.
I see it as fun
My
as fuck.
my favorite broken Gran Turismo car was the Escudo Pikes Peak in Gran Turismo 3.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's like broken. It was just like ridiculously powerful, and it did kind of break the game as far as competition, though. Is like,
Yeah, because like if you decided to delve into like the gear tweaking, I don't remember what it's called, but you could like whatever track you're on, you just tweak
oh,
yourself and then you just destroy things
I didn't
even
even think
more
of
than
that.
just
Yeah.
regular. Yeah.
Yeah, no, there were a couple cars like that. You could like find a flaw. I mean, because those are some
Yeah.
of the older ones. But also, I remember the fun thing to do was like there was this one endurance race. It was like a 2-hour race, but it was on an oval, and
Yep.
all you'd have to do is just tape down the X
Yep.
button on your
Mm-hmm.
controller, and the Scudo had so much power and was so fast that you could just tape that button down, and it would go around the track, beat everyone, and earn you an
Yep.
F1 car for just
Yep.
nothing. Like you just leave your PS2 alone for 2 hours, come back, free F1 car. It's like, hell yeah.
Yep. And 200,000
Yeah,
Gran Turismo bucks.
true that.
It's, what I did in Gran Turismo 3, how to cheat through, is like I worked through to like get all the licenses so I can enter the endurance races.
Hmm.
And like my best car was probably still like a Miata, and that wasn't like good enough. So, but even if you got like last place in an endurance race, you'd get like 10 or 20,000 bucks.
Hmm.
So you just like, all right, I'm going to bed for the night. See you in the morning, $20,000. And I did I did that a couple times, and then I probably bought a Corvette or a Viper because I like those cars, and then I won the
Yeah.
race regular. And then you get like the supercars, and then everything was broken. That was how I did it.
Nice.
Those
Yeah, good
license tests were
times.
a bitch, though.
Some of them were, yeah.
Yeah.
Like there was one I had to turn off manual shifting and use traction control. The stupid braking test. It was like I couldn't believe it. I was like, I tried a million times the way I normally play. Then I like did that. It was like, it's like, am I not supposed to be able to get this? Then I changed it, and I was like, instantly got gold medal. And I was like, oh, you son of a bitch! Like, because you shouldn't have to do that, but yeah, you do. Unfortunately, but that was the only one I found. The rest were just difficult in a good way.
Yeah. A few were, yeah. A few were a pain.
But so we've gone successfully off tangent for a little bit. You guys want to wrap it up?
Sure.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep, I'm about a little under 3 hours away from playing Wolfenstein 2. I'm psyched. But thanks for listening, everybody. We will talk to you next time.